Uh, Very good evening. On this evening, we are here on international webinar on research and publication ethics. Now, all the participants are welcome on this live webinar on behalf of Bharat Digital Academy and Social Development Federation of India. So, I welcome to all our eminent speakers, guests, and chief guests on this emerging evening on this international webinar. Now, without any delay, I request to Dr. Rajneesh Sharma sir, Vice President of Social Development Federation, for the welcome address. Rajneesh Sharma sir.
Thank you, Dr. Anand. And for today's international webinar on research and publication ethics, no doubt it is the need of the time because nowadays the research is a very special and important field in every aspect, whether it is a education or it is a development or it is a, we can say, defense, science, economics, everything. So research means particularly the things which were existing earlier and now reintroduced. And whatever the research is being done, that is again important, that it should be authentic and it should depend upon certain ethics. Everything having certain law, everything having certain rules, everything having certain aspect to follow, and similarly the research and its publication have. You all know that this research field, whether it is a science or economics or arts or general life science, whatever the field is there, the research work having its own importance for the new things which comes in the light, for the knowledge, upgradation of the knowledge, upgradation of the information, upgradation of the methods, and upgradation of everything. But the publication nowadays, what happens, it has been seen that on the name of publication of research paper, materials are stolen from here and there. Regarding that regarding that whatever the original publications are there, they are defamed. Now it becomes very difficult to find out which part or which material is original. Therefore, if we see that number of theses, number of research paper, number of dissertations, number of books comes in the field, and when it is found that these are material stolen somewhere else, then it becomes a awkward situation. So before the publication of research material, whether it is in the form of research paper or in the form of thesis or dissertation, there should be some ethics, there should be some rule to follow. And I think today's subject depends crucially on this aspect, where every aspect of the subject will be unfolded by our learned speakers of today's seminar. So without delaying, I hearty welcome to all the learned speakers of today's webinar from the side of Social Development Federation Agra. And I hope that today's speakers will give certain that information which will be the most important for such type of researchers, such type of publishers, such type of writers, or we can say every students of the research field. So without delaying this webinar, now I hand over this dice for the online webinar to our learned speaker, please.
Thank you, sir, for your welcome address and introductory address about the international webinar. Now we move forward on this international webinar. I feel honored to invite our eminent guest speaker, Professor Lakshman Rao sir. Before inviting him, I request to Mr. BP Singh for the introduction of our eminent guest speaker, Professor Lakshman Rao sir.
Thank you, Dr. Anand sir. On the behalf of Social Development Foundation, welcome Lakshman Rao sir. Professor N. Lakshmana Rao is a well-known personality in the field of library and information science. He is a retired professor from Osmania University and presently President Telangana Library Association. He served as head DLS Osmania University during the period 1993 to 1995.
My dear sir, you have already introduced. Can you stop there? That is introduction is enough. As a retired professor of Usman University, because everybody
Okay.
does BE, BAL, MLA, PhD, all everybody does it. Please leave it because you have a
Okay,
less
okay,
time,
sir.
limited
So,
time. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Now I request to Professor Lakshman Rao sir, please uh, brief overview on the today
Yeah.
topic, research and publication ethics.
Yeah, thank you. I actually my apologies because I'm an intruder and taking a chance to speak. But I will, as I know that limited time is there, I will speak for only few minutes. And first of all, let me say thanks to Social Development Federation and its organizers Dr. Sharma, Dr. Rafiq Ji, Dr. BP Singh, Dr. Anand Kumar, and also my professional friends, Professor Nasiruddin, Professor Naushad, and Professor Manoj Verma, and other professional friends. Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity. Now, I just want to raise some of the issues. The ethics, as a student, we used to study ethics as a part of our curriculum. And the culture has changed now. Now, libraries are academicians, are the teachers, are the publishers, and nobody is in isolation because the politicians are corrupt, officials are corrupt. So, what happened slowly that has intruded into the academic field also. Now, the moment you say ethics, what is this ethics? What we call morals, or at least we have to think about behavior. The behavior which is supposed to be genuine, supposed to be the best of best, and truthful. Most important is truthful. Now, this is what we are talking about. When we are talking about, there are two aspects are in this international webinar. One is regarding the research, and the second is regarding the publication. Now, the research, if I want, I can quote number of examples. Initially, Dr. Sharma has raised the issue of stolen. It is not exactly stolen also. It is sometimes, stolen but modified the data that is being published or going to be published. Now, there are the reasons are plenty. For example, if you do research, if you want to publish your article, genuine article with genuine data, it takes 6 months, maybe sometimes 2 years. Now, within the 2 years, somebody picks up this article and publishes in a fake journal, or the word I will use after some time, predatory journal, you say fake journal, or you say any. I mean, there are different types of nomenclature is there, like cloned journal, whatever it is. And that is the reason now we have to, librarians have to create an awareness about the preprint websites. Earlier we were talking about reprint, but now preprint journal, preprint websites, they will publish all your articles in 24 hours, so that the article, unless it is published in a journal, it will be known, it can be seen, it can be used by anybody. So this is what we have to identify and tell the academicians that there are number of websites for each subject, and we should ask them to put it in the pre-print websites. That is one of the most important thing that we have to do. Then second is, when we talk about the corruption and when we talk about the research, so first of all, the procedures, I am sure I want to bring one of the most important factor these days. I'm sure all of you know that for assistant professor, PhD is not necessary. And the government of India recently said, do we need PhD for assistant professor? Why not we be happy with NET? The reason they say is, the moment you say compulsory, people are making a fake PhDs, or they're trying to get the PhD by some means or other. This is another problem. So once what happens, if a person gets the PhD with other means, naturally he cannot guide. And naturally he will also only support creation of the PhD degree by some means or other. So therefore, the University Grants Commission, on the basis of the recommendation of the minister, the present minister, I think they will not insist any more PhD in future for assistant professor recruitment. So this is indirectly indicates that the PhD getting PhD degree is not genuine. Then at the same time, when you look into the research, unfortunately, the data collection, or you may talk about data manipulation, these are also fake. Sitting in the laboratory, sitting in a classroom, they are preparing the data. I know one of the case where even in the science also the data is being copied, as Professor Dr. Sharma said. Now, I just wanted to bring it to the notice of our friends that today we are going to get open data, right? And the data, they are going to store the data in every university. Now they are going to ask that the data by the researchers must be stored for verification in future time. So that is how we are trying to put seven number of restrictions, number of ways and methods to overcome this mischief by the researchers. Then at the same time, the UGC has put in plagiarism, right? Plagiarism check. But again, there also corruption. Corruption does not mean money. Corruption could be influence. And the person who does the plagiarism check is also doing manipulation. So it is the manipulation, corruption, or all sorts of things are happening at every level. How far we will be able to check and stop this type of mischief, and that means we are beyond ethics. Similarly, when you talk about the publication, we have seen so many things. For example, when we say open access journals, as I was talking, you used the word cloned journal, and we also said predatory journal. When the predatory journal list was given out by Bailey, and he was threatened. So from 2018, he stopped bringing out the list of the predatory journal. And now there are a number of websites which are creating, but I'm sure, for example, Yale University, which has brought out a list, but I'm not 100% correct how far it is updated. There are a number of things are coming up, identifying the predatory journals. Then also, if you look into the directory of open access journals, they made it a condition. 2 points. One point is that they will not include the list in the list of open access unless the journal is published for 5 years. The second is they are giving open request, asking every academic to say if there is anything found about the predatory journal that is listed in the DOAJ, they are asking to inform. So they are trying to do stop those things. Now, when the question comes, I myself receive at least 10 times in a month asking to send the article, and they will publish in 3 days. They will publish in 4 days. If I just want to quote a couple of experiences, one of the lecturer who gave a what you call report, annual report or self assessment report, the article was published, but when it was checked, there was no article. After 2 years, the lecturer shows, I have published. Actually, there is no such journal at all. So how many administrators know all these things? How many academics know this? Unfortunately, there is only the way is there are two types of people. One is academicians who are really associated with this, like Dr. Sharma or Dr. Farooqi or others, and also the library professionals, they have to join together, identify the issues, identify how we will be able to identify the predatory journal, research, ethics, and all other such things. You put any number of rules, you put any number of restrictions, but still we are not going to, the people are not going to stop. Today, if you pay 3 lakhs, 5 lakhs, 6 lakhs, the PhD is given. Now, if you look into the Facebook, every day I see 4 or 5 websites where they say they are ready to give PhD degrees. So therefore, what is happening? And that is the reason what we are talking today. In the case of engineering, it is found that only 23% of the engineering graduates are having the skill. But now, through the support of the students and teachers, there are number of checks and rechecks are there, first thing. Second thing is to push them to learn the knowledge. We have academic staff colleges, but the second is skilling skilling techniques freely they are giving. So there are a lot of things that are happening. It's such a big subject. And it is only the one's consciousness should agree to do all such things. Now, another important thing, just recently, I was able to see some of the articles, right? And these articles, unfortunately, I don't know how far they're genuine. Some data is collected and some data, and ultimately what is happening, we also need to train them how to write an article. For example, put a lot of data, but when it comes to the conclusion, they aren't in a position to do it. I have seen number of theses, same problem. They don't know how to identify the gap in the literature so that we can identify the problem. They are writing something, literature survey is something, putting 50, 100 references, that's it. It's not true. The literature survey is to identify the gaps. From broad subject to, we have to come to the narrower subject, and then we'll be able to identify the gaps. So there are a lot of issues are there. Only thing is, I don't know how do we control this ethics unless the genuineness comes from the inner heart of the researchers. It is there. Then second, when you talk about the publishers also, lastly, when you talk about the publishers, I don't know how, I'm sure most of you know, from Delhi, a lot of books are coming in. If you just take one publisher with 10 books and you find the same articles in one article in 5 books and second article in another 5 books. So what you do, all these articles are picked from the internet. So publishers are also playing game, and this is because the librarians, the teachers, academics, everybody is, we are soft. We are not, we are not condemning them. That is the reason the publishers are also playing a nasty role. So it is, it's not one, but accumulation of the problems are because of the environment. Unless the environment gets changed, unless we need a cane, I would like to say in India, we would like to have a cane. I think probably things may not get rectified. But this disease is not only in India, but everywhere, mostly in developing and underdeveloped countries, this is disease there. I'm sure the librarians and my fellow teachers and also sincere academicians, they join together as a group and try to identify how best we'll be able to implement the ethics to maintain the quality of research and the quality of publication. Thank you very much.
Excellent, sir. Excellent.
Thank you, sir, for your valuable talk, your valuable ethics about the research and publication. And definitely it is beneficial for us and for our participants who are seeing this program, who are see this program live on YouTube channel. Now, further, I move forward and invite to Professor Nausad Ali sir. I request to Professor Nausad Ali sir for his valuable talks on research and publication ethics.
Am I audible?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Respected Chief Guest, Professor Nasruddin, Dean, National University, Dhaka, Bangladesh. Guest of honor, Professor Lakshman Raoji, Professor Emeritus, Osmania University. And our resource person, Dr. Manoj Kumarji, Dr. Rajneesh Sharmaji, Vice President, SDF. Mr. Mohammad Rafiq, Director, Bharat Digital Academy, BP Singh, and Dr. Anand Kumar. Thank you all for giving me the opportunity to interact with the delegates on the topic research and publication ethics. Professor Lakshman Raoji, the senior professor of our country, discussed the issues which the younger generation and our country is facing as far as the research and publication ethics is concerned. There are many measures have been taken by the government and agencies, but as Professor Lakshman Raoji said, I said that it is again there is a problem of corruption which is involved in diluting all these regulations and rules. So now this is the responsibility entrusting the younger generation to maintain research ethics and publication ethics and related concept. With us, it is a not only our duty, it is a great responsibility. So we know the research ethics what it is. Actually, a research ethics involves the application of fundamental ethical principles to research activities. A system of guiding principles, norms for conduct that distinguish between what is acceptable and what is unacceptable. So, always the research ethics which will help you to guide us what is the right way to go about the research. It will be helping us to formulating our research, developing our research design, and carrying out our research in a proper way. So it is our responsibility as a researcher to strive to meet ethical standards in our research. All of our young researchers, they wish to have to maintain such ethical standards in our research. But due to this awareness, lack of awareness about what to follow and uh, what type of guidelines we have to be included in our research. So this is the purpose which I feel our the Social Development Federation and Bharat Digital Academy they came with this concept and to create an awareness among our young researchers about this topic. As we all know, all researchers by and large a self-regulating and self-policing process. We all are going through these research processes which will be self-regulating or self-policing. We researcher have to decide what to have to be maintained or what you have to be follow or what book has to be cited and which has to be acknowledged and we have tried to avoid the falsification and the fabrication of these issues. So in this topic I will wish to uh, share the slide. I hope I'm trying to share my slide. Yes, it's uploading. Okay, so as we know, this research ethics always, which will be based on some sort of principles, and research ethics, which is based on some sort of immorality and other things. I think it is coming up. So let us discuss what will be the need of this research ethics. Okay, actually, this research ethics, which will be protecting us or protect the participants' right, because all we are researchers. I came to know from these organizers, 80% of the participants of this webinar, international webinar, it's research scholars. So, what I would like to share this first need of this slide is visible.
Not yet visible, Professor Naushad.
Yes, it is showing the slide 1.
Yeah, it's
Yes.
coming. It's okay right now. Right now it's okay
Okay, thank
and
you.
very clear. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So, this research ethics, which we can say, we can have some definitions which we will generally say, but in research ethics, it will be guiding. It is helping us to norms for conduct the research. It will be helping to distinguish between what is acceptable and what is unacceptable behavior. It will guide us the rules for distinguish between the right and wrong. Research ethics is a method, procedure, or a perspective for deciding how to act or analyzing the complex problems and issues. It will be helping us as standards for behavior. It is a principles of values, morals that you will be expected to follow. So these ethical norms also serve the aims or goals of research and apply to people who conduct the scientific research. So this scientific research, we can say there are many scientific and ethical principles which we know. I think one is the honesty, objectivity, integrity, carefulness, openness, respect for intellectual property. Okay, all these things I think I don't need of more explanation about that. But one thing here I to emphasize that the respect for intellectual property, it is one of the uh, primary principle we can say, which honor the patents, copyrights, and other forms of intellectual property. Do not use unpublished data or method result without the permission. So give credit where credit is due. Okay, so similarly, there will be confidentiality that you have to maintain. Every researcher, we have to maintain our confidentiality of the data. Responsible the publications, publish in order to advance research and scholarship. Responsible mentoring and respect our colleagues. And we should be responsibility, non-discrimination, competence, and legality, animal care, human subject protection. Okay, these are some sort of principles. And I already mentioned this research ethics, which is become nowadays it is very important, or it become a need for our research institutions. Why it is there? Because this research ethics promote the aims of research, such as knowledge, the truth, and avoidance of error. It is a guidance. It will always guide us to work with promote our research. And I told you already, it will protect participants' right. It will help to have respect of intellectual property. It will ensure responsible reporting and publishing. While you are going to publish your research report, it will be guiding you to how to publish and what are the morals and ideas which you have to follow. And to maintain and promote competence and promote a variety of other important moral and social values such as social responsibility, human rights, animal welfare, compliances with law and public health and safety. And now let us see what are the major research misconduct which we are having. Okay, so you see, there are a lot of misconducts, research and publication ethics, which we are generally which you are seeing. I told you we have, people are not doing it intentionally, maybe, but these are the things which will be helping, which will be creating a problem for the researchers always. So, what are these things which you can see? One thing we can see, the data fabrication of data. What it is in the fabrication of data, general researcher doing intentionally for makeup data. We generally will say it's a cooking the data, or we are cooking the result and recording, or that is same thing will be reported to the agencies. Okay, so this is the cooking data. It is a fabrication of the data. Sometimes there will be interview data will be there, or the data of questionnaire which is showing, but then they never interviewed any person, or they never conducted any study. Such a type of fabrications, it is now it become common. And the falsification, manipulating the research materials, process, or the changing data or changing result without any scientific or statistical justification, and according to the intention, according to some particular purpose, they're changing the data and manipulating data. That is a data falsification. Like plagiarism, it is another concept where we are publishing the material which is indicating it's their own work. And the copyright infringement, image manipulation, salami slicing. One work, it will be publishing in different articles in different forms. Okay, and duplication of submission of things. So these are the things which you can see, which become very common nowadays, seeing such a type of research unethical matters. Okay. Apart from that, we can see citation manipulation. That Professor Lakshman Rauji said, review literature, they're writing it, and without any consultation of the material, there many citations they were putting it. And the publishing in periodic journals. Okay, UGC has come with the UGC care list of journals, and we have the Committee on Publication Ethics and the World Association of Medical Editors, which will be helping us to publish selecting the good journals. And the organizers asked me to discuss something about the plagiarism in this webinar, because most of our researchers, they will be trapped in this plagiarism issues because of the not knowing what is actual plagiarism is. Okay, so actually the word plagiarize, the word is actually comes from the Latin word plagiar, that means to kidnap. Actually, the plagiarism is act of presenting the work of another as your own. Okay, we are presenting the article or the content or idea, which is indicating that this is their own work. Okay, and if you use the work of someone else knowingly or inadvertently and claim it as your own creation, you are committing an act of plagiarism. Okay, so it is very carefully we have to take care of this plagiarism. And another issue the young generation which is also facing, if they copying the material which is their own work, they already published the work, it will come under the plagiarism. If it is work is your own, then also you are reproducing it in some other papers or journals or in thesis. So you have to give the proper acknowledgement from the work. This is your work. It has been published from where it is published. So this is you have to be, or they can reuse their work as with their please, but it could be they should give that proper acknowledgement for their work. And there was a question always: do I have to cite everything? Everything I have to cite, whatever you say. Measures for sometimes there are some authorities in our universities and other places. They're saying how this can be done, how it is possible to acknowledge each and everything. But no, nothing. Everything you don't want to that you have to acknowledge. For example, the facts that are widely known. Everybody knows some facts are there, so don't want to cite that things. And the information or judgment considers in common knowledge. Okay, some knowledge, something will be within common knowledge, so no need of citing it. Otherwise, whatever the things which you are available, that you have to be acknowledged. So that means there are some cases you can avoid the acknowledging things. That means you are discussing your own experience, your own observation, or your own reactions. No need of acknowledging things. That is your own product. And comparing the result of your original research from science experiment and etc. And if you are using the common knowledge, or if you are discussing some facts, so no need of acknowledging it. Otherwise, everything you have to be acknowledged. If I change a few words, I am okay. So no, it's wrong. Paraphrasing original ideas without documenting your source is a plagiarism too. Okay, if you are not taking as such from any document, but if you are changing the words and sentences, but it will also come under the plagiarism. Okay, so you have to mention the whose idea it is, that you have to give the proper acknowledgement. So then question will be there, why the academicians and research scholars will be going for the plagiarism materials. That is Rashmar Raoji just to mention. If something we will be compelling them to do, if they are not intended to do, so they will go for some other shortcuts. For example, in order to improve the API score for the teachers, they have to be submitted within 6 months. Their score is not properly done, so they will be going for using some shortcuts. And mandatory requirement to publish, peer pressure from the academic community, in a hurry to publish, or some group of people it is doing the plagiarism because of lack of understanding of seriousness of plagiarism. Okay, recently I have seen some theses. It is from the one of the department of our university, and what are they saying? That was that examiner of the thesis. He has given some comments. There is no proper citations. They brought to me then asking that we have already given the that citations, the references at the end. So whatever they collected them, because they're believing that if once you give in that site references, the work is bibliography, the work is over. Because most of the researchers, they don't have the differentiate. Even some teachers, they couldn't differentiate what is bibliography and references. So they collected the material, then reproduce the material in the first or second or third chapter. Later on, they give in the bibliography all these site references. So the proper citation, they don't know how to cite the documents. So they don't know what the seriousness of this plagiarism. So this is a lack of awareness is one reason for this academicians they going for the plagiarism. And lack of strict academic discipline and the cut and paste culture. Okay, so these are some reasons why plagiarism which we are common now. And there are many plagiarism detection tools are there. In the earlier ORCUD, now is Original, Iauthenticate, Turnitin, Plagiarism Checker, Grammarly, DupliChecker, CopyLeaks, Plagiarisma, Plagiscan, Plagitracker. You can use researchers, especially the students, also researchers, those who are in the universities. They have in the free of cost, they can check their plagiarism. There is a website in the InfluBNet. They have the Shod Shuddhi. Almost all institutions are registered through through this website, shodshuddhi.influbnet.ac. You can everybody can check their work, whether it is a plagiarist or not. They can verify before going for publications. And how to reduce the plagiarism? There will be a question. Plagiarism, how we can reduce it? The best method is to quote it. If you taken something from others, you plus put in the quote. If it's something's under quote, it will be plagiarism free. And do not copy paste the text verbatim. If you are copying the same thing and you are giving the references citation, still it is showing the plagiarism because it will show in the same sentences. So you have to change sentence. What idea is somebody else, so you can give the reference, but do not copy, paste as such the verbatim. And to cite your own material. If it is your self-material, self-published material, again you have give the citations. And manage your citation, that I told you. Whatever your citations you are in each and every chapter, you have to make the in-text as well as the references. And always have the process of use the plagiarism checkers. And in many countries, they have their own plagiarism or the research ethics guidelines. The American Psychological Association, APA, which is a worldwide accepted standard for the principles of research ethics. And the British Education Research Association, BERA, they having the research guidelines for education research. And US Office of Research Integrity, they brought out avoiding plagiarism, self-plagiarism, and other questionable writing practices, a guide to ethical writing. All these documents, it is very clearly mentioning what are the things to do and what are the things which you have to be adopted for the research. Similarly, the Australian government, Australian Code of Responsible Conduct of Research, and the Ethical Review Act of the Sweden, they have their own act for the research. And the European Code to Conduct the Research Integrity, ethical, that is for European Union, and the Ethical Guidelines for Good Research Practice, Association of Social Anthropologists in UK, and Australian Code for Responsible Conduct of Research in 2018, and ESRC Framework for Research Ethics, and National Committee for Research Ethics in the Social Sciences and Humanities, NESH Norway. So see, each and every country, they're having their own research and ethical guidelines. So what about India? Sorry, there is one book which I will suggest to you, Research Ethics for Social Scientists. It is a very good book it's published by Sage. It is mentioning about different countries, different guidelines, and what ethics we have to be following the research. And what about the condition of India? India, UGC Grants Commission taking initiatives to prepare this ethics. They brought out one book in the September 2020, Good Academic Research Practices by the UGC. The book is available on the UGC website. Anybody can go and search, and you can understand how to prepare, how to follow the ethical norms in our research. And UGC also brought a 2-credit course, compulsory course for the PhD students. It is very compulsory. It is discussing on the research and publication ethics. And the UGC care list of journals, UGC is giving the approved list of journals. Okay, it is available on the website. It is to maintain the publication ethics. UGC is saying you have to select this best, you can publish these articles in the UGC care list journals. And Shuddhi, I already mentioned, we can visit this website and you'll find your institution registered in this website. Through that, you can check the plagiarism before going the publications. And Shodh Ganga, it is initiative to make the visibility of your thesis so that the plagiarism, the similarity level of the thesis will be reduced. And UGC also brought out in 23rd July 2018, that is a UGC Grants Commission, Promotion of Academic Integrity and Prevention of Plagiarism in Higher Education Institution Regulations 2018. It has been published in 23rd July 2018 in the Gazette of India. Now UGC is modifying these regulations. But as far as these regulations, they define what is academic integrity, what is common knowledge, what is plagiarism, what is departmental academic integrity panel, institutional academic integrity panel. So according to these guidelines, these regulations, every university should have their 2 committees. One is departmental committee, another is institutional committee. If there is a complaint against anybody related to plagiarism, so this department committee will be make for this inquiry. They will be check the fact, and in the department committee there will be one head of the department, one senior academician, and a person well versed with the anti-plagiarism tools and regulations. So this is the academic committee. They will be verify that complaint, and if it is found, it will be going for the institutional academic committee. There will be the chairman, will be the pro-vice chancellor, or dean, or senior academician, and there will be a senior academician as a member, and one member. Generally, there will be a university librarian as a well versed with these plagiarism techniques and tools. There will be 4 members in the institutional academic committee. When they will verify, and the UGC is also given the punishment according to the percentage of the similarities. Okay, if students is submitting the thesis, if there are 4 levels they identified: level 0, level 1, level 2, level 3. Level 0, that means the similarity is up to 10%, there will be no penalty. If the student thesis is found that similarities between 10 to 40, then the students will be asked to resubmit his thesis, revise his thesis, and within 6 months. And if the plagiarism is found is 40 to 60%, the student shall be debarred from the submitting the revised script for a period of 1 year. And the similarities above 60%, the student registration that for the program shall be cancelled. In this case of penalties, in the case of academic research publications, similar percentages are given. There will be no penalty for 10%, and 10 to 40%, they shall be asked to withdraw the manuscript. Just a minute. So, in this case of level 2, the similarities to 40%, 60%, they shall be asked to withdraw the manuscript. And there will be 1 annual increment, they will be denied, and they shall not allowed to be supervisor to any new master's, MPhil or PhD student. And the level 3, it is very more dangerous. Up to this, if it is more than 60%, he or she shall be asked to withdraw the manuscript and shall be denied a right to 2 successive annual increments, and shall not be allowed to be supervisor to any new master's, MPhil, PhD student, scholar for a period of 3 years. Okay, so UGC is very stringent about these regulations. So we teachers as well as research scholars, we have to be very much careful about this plagiarism issues. And while checking the similarities, you can exclude all quoted work reproduced with all necessary permissions and attribution, all references, bibliography, table of content, preface and acknowledgements, all generic terms, laws, standard symbols, and standard equations. And UGC also saying to organize various training programs to make aware about these rules. And it will include the cardinal principles of academic integrity in the curriculum of undergraduate, postgraduate, master's degree, and compulsory for work. Now the PhD is already introduced. Now UGC is going to introduce this in master's and other degree level. And in publication also, and this topic is it is essential for the orientation refresher programs. Okay, so this plagiarism issue is very serious that I told you. Many teachers, many universities they caught, and some of them are got a good punishment due to this plagiarism issues. So it is a very serious matter. So I wish to, and I hope all our young fellow young researchers, they will be more giving much emphasis to all this research and ethical things. And I conclude my talk with this quote from the Loretta Young: "Giving credit where credit is due is a very rewarding habit to form. Its rewards are inestimable." Okay, so we have to give the credit where the credit is due. It is not our weakness; it is our strength in our research. With these words, I conclude my this brief talk, and I congratulate the organizers of this program who is giving me the opportunity to interact with that. Okay, thank you very much.
Excellent. Excellent.
Thank you, sir, for your valuable talk on research and publication ethics. Definitely, it will be beneficial for us, beneficial for researchers and academicians. They should follow all these guidelines about the research and publication ethics. Thank you. Thank you again, sir, on behalf of Social Development Federation and Bharat Digital Academy. Sir, we
Thank you.
have some questions on chat box. Now I request to Mr. BP Singh, sir, to flash the questions on screen. Please, sir.
Sir, question will be take after the
The presentation.
session.
Yeah.
In
Okay,
the
after
last
all,
session.
okay, after all
Okay,
percentage is over, then we
okay.
can take it.
Okay,
thank
now
you.
I need to forward, and now I am going to invite Dr. Manoj Kumar Verma, sir, from Mizoram University. Now I request to Mr. BP Singh, sir, for introductory address about Dr. Manoj Kumar Verma, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Anand Kumar. Dr. Manoj Kumar Verma is working as an associate professor at Department of Library and Information Science, Mizoram University, Ajwan. He has completed his MSc and PhD from Guru Ghasidas University, Bilaspur. He has more than 21-year experience in academic and research. He has published more than 185 research papers in national and international journals, conference proceedings, 24 book chapters, and 8 book edited books. As of now, 7 PhD and 8 MPhil scholars awarded degree under his supervision, and 6 PhD scholars are working under his supervision presently. His area of interest including ICT application in libraries, knowledge management, information literacy, bibliometrics, centrometrics, webometrics, and sentiment analysis. He is one of the most active and dynamic allies professional, having 650 plus citation, Google citation with 110 in I10 index and H10 index 13. He is member of board of study, school board and university court, and presently also working in 20 plus university committee as an active member. Professor Manoj Kumar Verma is a well-known and very high reputed personality in the field of library science. Now I request to Professor Verma, please brief about your the research writing and publication ethics. Over to Professor Verma.
थैंक यू डॉक्टर बीपी सिंह सर दिस इज हमारे लिए बहुत सौभाग्य की बात है. दिस इज माय प्रिविलेज कि टुडे आई एम पार्ट ऑफ दिस इंटरनेशनल वेबिनार. First of all, Professor Nasuddin sir from Bangladesh, Professor Lakshman Rao sir, Professor Nausad Ali sir, Dr. BP Singh, Dr. Anand Kumar, Dr. Rajesh Sharma, and Dr. Anand Kumar, and all other members of the Social Development Federation, office bearers, and stockholders. Good evening to all. So today, as this webinar is on the research ethics and publications, and as I was requested by the organizer that I have to talk about the research publications, so I am going to talk about the research publications now. So first of all, I want to share my screen so that my PPT will be. Yeah, I think my PPT is visible, sir.
No, sir. Sir, please you can click on share and
1 minute,
share
sir.
screen.
I have got, sir. Got. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
I
coming.
have got. Yeah.
He should try again, I think. Yeah?
Yeah,
Please share again, sir.
Share again.
I am trying, sir. Yeah, I think it is now visible, sir.
Not yet. Yeah, it's.
Yeah.
Yes, sir, visible.
Please keep it on full
I
screen.
am going to. Yeah. So, dear friend, today I am going to talk about the research writing and publications. So, first of all, by the title, there is a research writing and publication. Two different word is there. So, by different pictures, I just want to tell you what is the research. Everyone from our childhood, we are listening the word research, and we have some assumptions about the research. Means when we are going to invent some new ideas or some new things, then it is come under the research. In my childhood also, when I was in school, in my school time, I have, when someone talk about the research, one picture is coming in my mind always, that some scientist is there who is working in the lab and who are developing some scientific tool or some technological tool. That assumptions I have in my childhood, but when I grown up, then I realized that research is not only related to the science, even the social science, humanities, and our day-to-day activities, our social behavior. Many research are going on and we have to do. So by the image, see, someone is searching some literature, and they are trying to, on the basis of that literatures, they are trying to give some new idea and through that experiment they are conducting some research. So if we summarize the research, in the some word, so it is no research, it is a process of the systematic activities to reach a solution of the existing problem. Always we start the research with some problem. Okay, research, no, in our thesis also, first of all, we have to fix some objective, some research problem, and through the research process, we are trying to give the answer of that problems. So research is a systematic, scientific, careful, and extraneous inquiry or investigation into the nature of either in the nature we are doing that investigation, the region for there is some particular region for that we are making some inquiry, and are the consequences, some situations arises. Just see, now 2 years back, the coronavirus came. Then a lot of research has been suddenly some consequences arises, and we started to work in that area. So in general, to reach the solution of existing problem, what we are facing, important point is that writing skill. See, we have different type of someone is hair cutter, plumber, they have different skills. In researcher, we need a good writing skill, because when we are conducting some research in the lab, or we are conducting in the field, or by our observation method, when we collect the data, that data, until it is presented in the written form, in written form to reach to the public domain or to the common people, that research is not going to be utilized or not going to be useful. So to present that research which we conducted by the different scientific method or survey or observation method, that things we have to convert, that data we have to convert in the form of the write-up. So to present that data, we need a good writing skill. Okay, so writing skill are the very important part of the communication. A good writing skill allow you to communicate your message with clearly and easy to the larger audience than through face-to-face or telephonic conversations. Now, the significance of the writing skill, why we need. See, today, when anyone can be their own publishing blog, now social media we are publishing. Every day we are seeing more and more example of poor writing skill, both in print and on the web. Poor writing skill create poor first impression, and many readers will have to immediate negative reaction if they spot a spelling or grammar mistake. So as just an example, a spelling mistake on a commercial web page may cause potential customer to doubt the credibility of the website and the organization. So when we are presenting, suppose हमने बहुत अच्छा मेहनत किया, बहुत अच्छा डाटा कलेक्शन किया, एक्सपेरिमेंट किया, लेकिन जब हम अपने रिसर्च को when we are trying to publish, जब हम उसको कम्युनिकेट करते हैं, राइटिंग स्किल में लाते हैं, हमारी भाषा, हमारा जो राइटिंग skill है वो अच्छी नहीं है, then it is going to be questioned. The credentials is going to be questioned, and people are thinking that research is not good. So what is the importance of the writing skill in our research? See, what happened, suppose I am written one email to my junior, no, to prepare some data, something, and my writing skill means my language, the sentences. When he will receive the mail, what data I asking him, huge, and he cannot give the 100% to prepare that draft or that PPT or that presentation. So always, if the writing skill, no, if I'm not going to communicate properly, systematically, and very clearly, then the another part, no, the receiver, they may are not able to get the right meaning of my communication. So there is a different steps of the writing thing. Yeah. So there is a different steps of the writing, I think. Yeah. So now the research paper. Now I am coming to the my after research paper. So research paper is nothing. No. Normally when we conduct some research, we are giving some words, some sentences. We are summarizing our research in the form of the research paper. So research paper is a pieces of the academic writing based on its author original research on a particular topic and the analysis and interpretation of the research findings. What research we conducted, what is their finding? No, we are presenting in our research paper. Research paper is an academic work that is usually published.
Excuse me, Dr. Monos, we are not just viewing your slides. Could you please try again to show your slide? It's not displaying.
Okay.
You just the first slide is still visual. You try to move the slide.
Yeah.
So it will be very much convenient for the participants as well. Huh? Thank you.
Yeah. I think it is visual, sir, now. Now it is visible, sir.
Sir, please keep it on slideshow.
It's buffering. It's buffering. I think it's a network problem. So
Yeah.
let us wait for 30 to 40 seconds. If not, then you can proceed your speaking. No problem.
So it is
not coming.
I think Dr. Verma facing the network problem.
Yeah, I think so. So you can proceed.
Yeah.
You can give your speech. No matter. Keep
PPT from my end.
Sir, please
proceed. Okay. So see, the research paper, it is an academic work that is usually published in the academic journal, and it contains the original research result of the review of existing result. These papers also called an article, and it is undergoes to a process of peer review process by one or more referees who are academics in the same field, who check that the content of the paper and its suitability for publication in the journal. A paper may undergo a series of the review, revision, and resubmission before finally being accepted or rejected for the publication. The process typically takes several months. Next, there is often a delay delay of many months, or in some field over a year before an accepted manuscript appears. Then writing, no, normally what process we adopt to write a research proposal? No, normally it happens that we choose a topic, do the research under that chosen topic, and write an essay based on our research. What research we conducted, we write. But the problem is that when we submit our write-up to our professors, they are giving a lot of comment in preliminary stage that there is no research questions, it is a improper use of the sources, what material we use for the literature review, it is not proper, and inadequate bibliography has been given. Normally this comment we are given to our scholars when they submit their first draft. Then what is the lacking? Lacking skill to write up a research paper. What are the lacking stage? So how the right to a research paper for the research process? See, research data we have to collect, then literature review, we have to identify the research problem, then research questions, data collection, analysis of the data, result and conclusion. These are the steps we have to follow for our write-up. And when we are choosing a topic, how we choose our topic, don't choose too broad area for your research paper, because if you choose a very broad topic, your study will be very superficial, as said, very shown in illustration, very superficial. And if your topic is narrow, you can deal with it in a depth. If your topic is broad, you will deal with only in the shallow way. So always, you choose the sample little big, but do the research with a narrow, means your topic will be very narrow based on that area. Then review of literature, the second important point of the research, a good review of literature, a literature search is considered an organized search to find key literature on a particular topic. A literature search is a systematic and through search for all the type of the literature, print and non-print. A lot of nowadays e-resources are there. So through literature search, we are trying to find out what work has been carried out already in that particular area, that particular topic, and we are trying to find out which area, and that by your research. That researcher want to answer each research process. So identify a narrow topic within the broad topic. These are the four steps to identify your research problems. Then research questions. Research questions is an answerable queries into a specific corner on the issue. It is the initial step of the research project. The initial step means after you have an idea of what you want to study, the research question is the first active step in the research project. What you want to do by your research. Then a good research questions, or when you design the good research question, then you have to identify some point. It is first point is your research questions should not be biased. It is answerable. If you set the research question by your research, you are not going to give an answer. So you fix the research questions, your research questions, which is answerable, which is relevant, which is pertinent and focused research questions you have to identify. Then the basic problem in the research publication, nowadays what happened, as sir mentioned already, the rejection rate is very high. Okay, when we communicate, if you see the Emerald Journal, Taylor and Francis, the rejection rate is around 70 to 80%. Means if they receive in a month 100 paper, out of that 100 papers, 70 to 80 papers they are rejecting. So why they are rejecting our research papers when we communicating? What are the lacuna? So the basic lacuna in our research is that language and grammar. Okay, the write-up part is very weak. Then plagiarism and similarity. Another problem is plagiarism and similarity. Then lacking in review of literature. inappropriate methodology, the methodology which we use for our research, it is not elaborated nicely or perfectly. Then empty space in data analysis. No, we are just giving the data whatever in the table. No, same data we are presenting in the word in our article. We are not analyzing in the proper way, and we are not correlate our data our data with review of literature, and we are not giving any correlation. Then in inappropriate discussion in conclusion and lacking of the proper citation. These are the major problems why our research publications or research paper are rejected. So if you want to publish your article in the good journal, in high impact journal, then you have to think in this point and you try to improve your article. The other technical problem, sometimes choosing the journals, poor study design in the research problem, research paper, problem with peer review, and lacking in the catching the latest trend in the research. So suppose many times it happened and you maybe faced such type of the problem. Today we submit one paper to some journals. Next day morning, when you get up, you come and you open your mail, you found that your paper has been rejected from there. So what happened? Many times when you submit your paper, always before submitting your paper, check the scope of the journals. Okay, if your work is matching with that scope, then only you communicate in that journal. Okay, so if you are not doing, randomly you complete your article and randomly you send it, then the next day it will be rejected. Then poor study design and research paper. When we submitted, suppose my journal choice is okay, but my research design of my paper is not good, then it will not go to further peer review. At the editor end, it will be rejected and it sent back to us. Then problem with peer review, sometimes it happened our work is also very good, but the peer reviewer or the person who reviewed that article, he is not able to understand that problem what you defined, and that bad luck with author and it was written. Then lacking the catching the latest trend in the research. Many times it happened, now library science, there is a lot of changes happen. Okay, so the latest trend, you have to, as a researcher, you have to find out the latest trend, what is going on in your subject, your area, and what type of the publication is coming. Suppose you want to publish your paper in the library high tech. So if before deciding your topic, you see in library high tech last 6 months or last 4 issue, 5 issue, what type of the paper is publishing. You have to catch the idea from there. Okay, and you have to try to catch the trend. Okay, and accordingly you have to plan your research and you have to write your article and you have to submit it. If just as a library science, new trend, what are the new trend nowadays? See, bibliometrics, Santometrics. If you see in present time, around more than 60%, 50 to 60% article is publishing on this bibliometrics, Santometrics. Okay, where we are calculating different type of the research productivity and their trend, collaboration by using and nowadays also we are not, the editor is not accepting the traditional bibliometrics, Santometrics. Now there is a different tools, different softwares. They are, BiblioSigny, different softwares are there. They are using that software to make the correlation, and they are presenting by different table, graph, nicely they are presenting, and that type of the paper is coming. If you see any top journals in our library science, Annals of Library Information Science Studies, DeciDoc, okay, journals of Santometrics, Coldnet. So you will find out more than 60-70% article is related to bibliometrics, Santometrics, or bibliometrics. The second area is bibliometrics. Nowadays, see, we are living in the digital environment. We are providing the information through digital mode. So different website, now in place of the document now that was replaced by the website. So we are checking different web performance by web content analysis, web performance analysis, web visibility analysis, web link structure analysis. Okay, so that type of the article nowadays is trend. Knowledge management, digital literacy and ICT literacy, digitalization, semantic web technology, multilingual information system, e-resources, MOOCs, library security and social networking sites, sentiment analysis. These are the new trends in the LIS research now. Okay, so if you want to publish your article, good article in good journal, then you have to find out the trend and the new trend of the research, and accordingly you have to work and you have to publish your article in good journals. Okay, so this is from my end for my presentation, because from my end, sir.
Okay, thank you, sir, for your valuable talk on article writings, research writings on research, and also many important point we should learn from your talk to how to publish our articles, our research papers in journals. Now, I request to, now I feel honored to invite our guest speaker, Professor Nasiruddin Sir, National University of Bangladesh. Before inviting him, I request to Mr. BP Singh Sir about the introduction address of Professor Nasiruddin Sir.
Thank you, Dr. Anupma. Welcome, Professor Nasuddin sir. It is a great pleasure for me. I introduce you Dr. Nasuddin sir. Professor Muhammad Nasuddin is presently working as a Dean, School of Undergraduate Study, National University, Bangladesh. He is also the head of the Department and Library and Information Science and the advisor of Central Library of National University as well. As an editor of journal, he is publishing the National University Journal of Humanities, Social Science and Business Studies and the National University newsletter. Professor
Dr. BP Singh,
Nusruddin
Dr. BP Singh,
graduated
excuse me.
from University of Dhaka in Information Science and Library
BP Singh,
Management. At
listen,
he
can you
has
listen
been
me?
awarded PhD degree on automation in public libraries of Bangladesh from University of Dhaka, Bangladesh, and
BP Singh,
started
can
his
you listen
career
me?
as a faculty in the Department
BP
of
Singh Sir,
Information
BP Singh
Science.
Sir.
BP Singh,
Yes,
can you
sir.
listen me? Yeah, no need to read all of the biography because it's
Okay,
available
sir.
on the website like Professor Laxman. It's time consuming and
Okay,
still we are
okay.
working and I'm the simple professor and dean
Okay,
working
okay.
in National University.
Now,
That's all. So
okay,
thank you very much.
okay.
I
Now,
think I need to make the
okay.
session concise and precise. Okay, you
Okay.
start.
Now I request to Professor Nasuddin sir, please proceed your speech.
Yeah. Good evening, everybody. Thank you very much. And it's a very, very nice time that I'm passing. Last, 1.5 hours, I was just enjoying the presentation speech by renowned Professor Laxman Rao. First of all, I need to give thanks to organize such kind of international webinar on research and publication ethics by Bharat Digital Academy, BDA, and SDF, Social Development Forum. And I would like to also give thanks to Dr. Ranjish Sharma, Mohammad Rufiq is the director in Bharat Digital Academy. Dr. Ranjish Sharma is vice president of SDF. BP Singh, librarian, Ayush Library, DEI, Agra, and Dr. Anand Kumar, program coordinator, and his anchoring is very excellent. We are just listening. And last but not the least, I would like to congratulate again at the beginning Professor Naushad, who presented nicely, and the speaker, Dr. Manoj Kumar Burma. And special thanks to Professor Laxman again. I owe to him because I invited him proactively that you should be here. And in response to my invitation, and at the same time Professor Naushad's invitation, Professor Laxman is with us and has given already a very, very excellent speech, which is completely relevant with today's topic, and we learn many things from him. My friend, one thing is very important to know. Thefting is a big science. If not caught, I would like to start by this sentence. Our students, the students of the modern era, they are just following this formula. Theft or thefting, whatever you may call, is a big science if not caught. So whatever we are telling it, either plagiarism, paraphrasing, it's many terminology we are using. They are manipulating it within a second, and they have that capacity. In our class, we are noticing them. We completely believe that, of course, when we teach our students, we fully maintain our ethics and philosophy. We at least try to maintain our ethics and philosophy on how to write a research paper. But they have some special hurry. They have some special assignment. And completely, I'm not blaming them. Of course, 65% blame we have to take. We have to take as a teacher, as a professor. And as a librarian, our responsibility is, I think, too much. Because Professor Naushad, in his presentation, clearly mentioned about self-regulatory and self-policing. Time has come. Seriously, time has come to self-regulatory ourselves, self-monitoring ourselves, self-polishing ourselves. But you see the situation, what's happening here? Professor Laxman clearly mentioned regarding research side, he said, what is the challenge, what is the problem that we are facing, and regarding publication side. He is also clearly mentioned that how much cheating they are doing with the people, with the authors. So it's a very, very important presentation. And when Professor Naushad invited me to join this presentation, I told him that yes, I am working as an editor of the journal, which is you can see it in the website. It's a printed version, but complete full text we are giving on the website. It's a very tough thing, you know. I'm just giving you the live example. This journal we are publishing twice in a year, and 2 times we are calling for papers. We receive more than 60 research papers for each call. Our audience is all the college teachers. That number is near about 1 lakh. I'm working in a national university whose the student size is 3.5 million. 3.5 million students in national university, and our teacher size is 1 lakh. So when we call for papers, we are receiving only 60 papers, you see. And out of 60, pre-screening we are doing. First of all, pre-screening. Editor has every right to read the abstract and go through on the whole text. Then he will decide that it will go to the editorial board or not. And during then, when I match with my guideline, When I match with my ethics philosophy of the journals, 50% gone, 50% rejected. Then you say 30 accepted. Then we editorial board, I mean, very much reported professor from 8 university. You see in the website, if you go to National University website, you will find all of the journals over there. So then you will see that editorial board will reject 10 or 15. I mean, only 15 journals will go to the reviewer. We are paying to our reviewer. That's why we send it very carefully, anonymously, and maintaining all of the rules and regulations. But after reviewing, what a surprise message, because reviewer, as of today, we did not fix any, any plagiarism software, turn it in software or anything else. We are just watching, we are just seeing. Reviewer will just set up his turn it in software to verify the percentage of the paraphrasing or percentage of the copy paste. So what's happening? Only 4 or 5 articles out of 60 we received every 6 months. And again, when reviewer giving his reviewing, correction, suggestion, author becomes very puzzled. And he is not capable to do according to the perception of the reviewer. It's a major problem. So what's happening? That's why our journal publication is delaying. 1 year, we are supposed to publish 2 journals, but even 1.5 years, we are not publishing 1 volume. This is for your kind information. It's happening. And who are our participants? Not student, the teachers of the college level and the teachers of the university education. They are the participants. Even the lecturer, assistant professor, and our country, and same as India, because we are very much familiar with the culture of the India. What you are doing, within a seconds, it is spreading in my country. What we are doing, it is spreading in the west part of your country, West Bengal. So, why I am telling this? Our teachers, they are very much interested to take promotion, but not writing a research paper. They know it. And government has given them clear option. UGC has given them a clear-cut option that if you don't have any research paper, not impact factor is a tough thing, very, very vast thing. They need to at least write. So encouraging them, government has given them option that if you would like to take a promotion from lecturer to assistant professor, from assistant professor to associate professor, from associate to professor, you need some publication. There is a little part embargo over there. So when promotion times just comes, they become crazy to write. And that's why they are just writing one article. It needs at least 3 months. If minimum 3 months, if they do survey, field survey, desk report, or say the review literature, secondary literature, or something like this. But within 1 week, when they try to make it, they are just taking shelter of 50. This is the reason. But before that, 16 years for you, on record, I'm telling you, in National University, there are some teachers here, they are working since 16 years, but they don't have any publication. As long as government has given them embargo, they become very crazy to publish their articles. But where they will get the impact factor journal, where they will, there are several times, frequently they are hunting by the predatory journals. Predatory journals is a great hunter, like Lambert. All of you know Lambert publications, who are just giving big offer. And just when you send your manuscript over there, they will simply just within a second they will say, yes sir, we accept it. It's a very good article, etc. After that, they said, okay, send us $500, and then they negotiate with them. So when our selection board sits together, I as a selection board member with my vice chancellor and the board, when we see it, we first check it. Either it is online or not. Then we check either it's predatory or not. Then it is turned it in. I mean, the reviewer said okay or not. We are not giving emphasis on his teaching quality, on his teaching performance. We are highly giving emphasis on his article publication. This is burning issue right now. That's why I'm giving thanks to the organizer. At the right time, you have arranged this sort of program. So many things, I think, with me, thousands of the audiences, and if you just insert it in the YouTube, I strongly believe that my student, my research student, who are doing Master of Advanced Studies, MPhil or PhD under my direct supervision, they will seriously be benefited because we are telling them several times what should be done, what should not be done, but same thing happened. You know, it's a high technique they are applying. I mean, I am just mentioning some, not only my university students, some of the students who are applying this method, who are applying this technique. How much time they're spending for paraphrasing? If they spent a single part of time for writing a research paper or giving bibliography or giving a reference properly, they could learn very easily, but they have not that time. They are not spending any time for giving proper referencing, giving proper bibliography. Day has come, time has come to bring them into the right way, into the right track. Otherwise, all the development will go in vain. Why, you know? Dear participants, we know, everyone we know, that all kinds of productivity depends on education and knowledge. And there is no magic, there is no secret behind this of the economic development of a country. It is not my speech. The speech is given by Elham Helpman in 2004. He said, when productivity increases, it is because of knowledge and education increases. So where knowledge and education lies? In the research. Of course, research reveals that how much developed you are. But very sad to say, very sorry to say, what we are getting and what we are teaching to our student. So there is no any. Right now, it has come. We have come to a concrete decision that yes, of course, we will come out few students, those who are capable to write a research paper. Professor Monos, I think, as mentioned clearly, the last presenter, how to write a good research paper. Of course, all points, you know, you have mentioned. We also mentioned your student, even in the written test, in the elementary test, in the preliminary test, we are giving them users to write how to write a research paper. These are all points they are writing. But when they're doing, the practical scenario is quite different. So ethics, philosophy, and values, norms, standards, benchmarks is the most potential things. We are producing student. We are not producing researchers. We are producing people. We are not producing development worker. This is true because they are not learning. They are not learning the proper thing. They are not learning the main thing, how to do a good research, how to for even at the age of fourth industrial revolution, they don't know. Even the teacher as well. The teacher did not take this training, how to computer referring, how to give reference to a computer, how to review articles with the computers. This is our drawbacks, and it should be inbuilt in our curriculum. Indian government, they did very well, and we still believe India is a vast country. A lot of things are occurring over there. A lot of things are happening over there. There is a good thing, there is a bad thing, all the things, because people, is number of academic institutions, is number of teachers is too much. But we completely believe that yes, some good outcome still we are receiving from India. Of course, because we have that choice, we have that mechanism to find out, to extricate who are the good or who are the bad. As a student of the library science, that people we are giving reference to our student, that yes, you need to take his reference, you need to take his book, you need to take his article, etc., etc. Similar is the case with Bangladesh. Bangladesh government, last 10 years, they have strict a lot regarding this. Unbelievable. I'm telling you, my friend, UGC, they are working very well and they have fixed up some benchmarks, some variables, some indicators, and even in the selection procedures, they have just inbuilt in it. So, of course, situation will be changed. Of course, our students will be grown up with some values, some philosophy, some ethics as well. And I also confess with Professor Dorshad that yes, paraphrasing techniques, data manipulating techniques, of course, it is in such a way, I mean, thefting, they applied technical knowledge. Sometimes some Turnitin fail, you know, I promise. Some Turnitin fail. And Turnitin, there are some limitations. And this plagiarism software, also there are some limitations. I am telling you, in 2011, I am just giving you an example, then I will finish my speech. In 2011, 2013, I was in UK with my family. I was in England, in Bedfordshire University. There, one teacher has given one assignment on complaint response mechanism. That student doesn't know how to respond during complaint. I mean, they said if you are a government high officials, you have to handle some complaint. How you will respond? In every office, every institution, in front of the office, there is a box, complaint box. So how you will deal with the complaint? That student did his assignment. That professor told me that story. Who has thrown this assignment to his students? It's very interesting as of today. And right now, I could recognize that. I mean, jokes or a story. That professor said, "Yes, professor, I have given him this assignment." And within 1 week, before all of the students, he came to me and submitted his thesis. Sir, yes, this is my thesis. Yeah, this is my assignment. And I found this is completely fine. But not a single word he has written. How? But I could understand that he did not write it. But I have no any mechanism to catch him. What I should do? I said, how? What mechanism he applied? Then professor replied, it's very interesting, you know. He replied, he used some secondary materials that is not available through online. That is in that has been written in regional dialect, regional languages in his local newspaper. I then said, why you accepted it? He said, no, I did not accept it. He has just told it, he has written it as a case study. That is, that NGO, two NGO, one NGO dealt complain properly, another one did not complain, dealt complain not properly. So in his own languages, he just has written it. But the professor could understand that yes, in Prince to version in UK, in that book, that example is right, that example was right. He could understand. So this problem we are facing when we see that our student has not the capacity to write such kind of thing. But I am not also capable to catch up his thefting. This is vice versa. So within this situation, he got his degree, he got his MPhil, he got his PhD. So what we can do? We have also our limitations. Fully, these are completely depends on the ethics of the students, ethics of the teachers, ethics of the supervisor. So if we go beyond this, our all things will go in vain. So my friend, challenge is not only the COVID, challenge is not only the fourth industrial revolution, challenge, another challenge is this one, writing a good research paper, writing a honest research paper, and writing a research paper with full of ethics, full of authenticity, full of certainty. Thank you very much, my friend. I am very much overwhelmed by participating this sort of session, and I'm giving thanks to all of the organizer who has invited me. And in future, if I get any opportunity, of course, as a participant, I will join over there. Thank you very much. I learned many things. Thanks a lot. Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you very much, sir, for enlightening us about the writings of articles and research paper and also about their ethics. Now, at the last, I am going to invite again Dr. Rajneesh Sharma sir for concluding address. Dr. Rajneesh Sharma sir, please.
Thank you, Dr. Anand. And no doubt, today's session was very crucial because nowadays the malpractice is very common. So regarding that, in all our learned speaker focused on the ethics of data, ethics of material, ethics of sample, ethics of language, ethics of submission, reliability, responsibility, and everything. And who are the speakers? No doubt they will be benefited by this and they will take care in their future whenever they will present such type of material in the public domain or in the institutions. Particularly for the student, it is more informative and more reliable because students are unaware about that ethical materials or ethical points regarding their working of the research paper, articles, dissertations, etc. Now I pay my sincere thanks to our learned guests and speakers on this session. Professor Muhammad Nasiruddin, Dean, National University, Bangladesh. Professor Naushad Ali, Aligarh Muslim University, Aligarh. Dr. Manoj Kumar ji, Mizoram University. Mohammad Rafiq ji, Director, Bharat Digital Academy, Aligarh. Professor Lakshman Das ji. All our learned speakers focused very nicely and they clearly mentioned that how this ethical practice, how this ethical presentation, how this ethical creation of the material or research papers is important. So now keeping all these things, because already we have consuming near about 2 hours on this session, I am very thankful on the side of from the side of Social Development Federation Agra to our learned speakers and those spectators, viewers, or listeners who have connected on the Facebook on this directly to this our show. From bottom of my thanks, I am again thankful to Mr. Anand for this nice conducting program and Mr. BP Singh for organizing all these things because on the backstage it is very troublesome to him to organize all these things to collect all these learned speakers from different part of the world who are, but nowadays it is very good that this digital media, this digital platform have providing the opportunity to join these learned speaker from the away parts of the nation, or we can say from the global places, and by which we are able to listen them, we are able to find the information from our learned speakers and for the viewers and for the listeners of our session. So thank you very much again, Mr. Anand, Social Development Federation, and our learned speaker once again from my bottom of heart. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. May I request all of you to open your video? I would like to take one screenshot.
Okay.
Kumar
Thank you,
Verma,
sir.
Traffic Director.
Before,
Professor Naushad, are you there? Professor Lakshman.
okay, thank you, sir. Before end of the program, now I request to Muhammad Rafiq sir, Director, Bharat Digital Academy, for vote of thanks.
Sir, Professor Manoj Kumar is there?
Thank you, sir.
Professor Naushad?
Sir, only 6 people come on main screen.
Okay.
Sir, only 6 people will come on main screen.
Dr. Anand Kumar, please add
Yeah,
to the proposal
continue,
of
sir.
the
Mohammed
Muhammad Ali,
Rafiq,
sir.
sir. Please continue.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. This is a very good session. I would like to thanks all my participant and chief guest, Professor Nasir Saab and Naushad Ali Saab and all participants. The Honorable Chief Guest, Professor Nasiruddin Mithul, Dean National University, Dhaka, Bangladesh, respected keynote speaker, Professor PM Naushad Ali, Aligarh Muslim University, Aligarh, Dr. Manoj Kumar Verma, Mizoram University, Professor Lakshman Rao, Professor Usmania University, Hyderabad, and all participants. It is such an honor to me get an opportunity to thanks all the dignitaries on behalf of the Bharat Digital Academy and Social Development Federation. I extend a warm welcome to the people in the gathering. I would like to express my gratitude to all esteemed delegates of webinar for their presence and contribution to make this webinar a great success. I extend my gratitude to our Honorable Chief Guest, Professor Nasiruddin Mithul, to take out time from his busy schedule to grace the events. Thank you for inspiring and encouraging us with our words on this special day. A special thanks to the Professor Naushad Ali, Professor Lakshman Rao, BP Singh Saab for the providing immense support to make a webinar successful. I extend my gratitude Dr. Rajesh Sharma, Vice President SDF and Principal DEI, Agra. Dr. Anand Verma, Program Coordinator SDF to organize the webinar even amidst the pandemic. I must I must thank organizing team, volunteers for working hard for the past few days to make this webinar successful. I congratulate all the winners as well as the participants for their active participations. Thank you everyone once again for making it is a great success. Thank you.
Thank you very
sir.
much.
Now,
It is indeed a very good program.
on
Thank you,
this
sir. We enjoyed.
kind words,
I have
now
another
the
meeting
program
at
is
7:30, sir. So can I leave?